Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97 on ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Hello, I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming feed. Always don't miss anything. Sometimes you miss things. And when that happens, you say, thank goodness those guys put the show up every day upon its conclusion, both the iTunes and in our own audio vault. So that's where you'll go and get caught up. Today, only an hour, but really it's 3 hours. It's 1 hour of JCS, 2 hours of Seminole Headlines as we get caught up with the fellas, and then we're back for 3 more tomorrow. You can email the show if you like, JCS at 979@ESPNradio.com. You can find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. You can get My Pillow at MyPillow.com, entering the promo code 979ESPN. Go to MyPillow.com, buy one, get one. Boo. I'm just so many ways to connect.
Yeah.
So many ways to connect with the Jeff Cameron Show and Jeff Cameron.
So we have the stream, we have an email inbox, we have social media, we have YouTube, and now you can connect to Jeff through your sleep because of a shared pillow experience.
Shared pillow experience at MyPillow.com, where it's buy one, get one currently, Tom. Twitter's at JCameron Show. WTSM app is another way. It's different from MyPillow.com, but the WTSM app is free.
I share my pillow experience with you, Jeff. I even have a pillowcase that looks just like you.
Hey, that's getting weird. But you can share My Pillow. In fact, I would encourage you to do so. And I would also say this, that the show can be periscoped. You left that out. If you go to Twitter at 979 ESPN Radio and you follow that, you can periscope the program as well. A little side wager on our 2 baseball teams. Well, we play each other tonight beginning at 7:05.
Yeah. 4 games.
4-game set. Oh,
sure.
Real danger of splitting that 4-game set, I fear. Tall boys, as always.
You know, I wish you guys hadn't won 11 out of 12 and whatever it is, like 13 out of 15.
Gaudy numbers, yes.
Right, because then we could just wager for something crappy, you know, and then the loser would have to, you know, drink a Busch Light or something like that. But
goodness.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, you know what? I brought this up on the air the other day. No, not the other day at all. It was probably months ago. But I brought up that you can't find
Charlie Murphy, that was weeks ago.
Oh, that's the best. I'm going to watch it again today. So
sorry, it was a perfect opportunity.
So you can't find a classic Michelob in the old brown bottle with the beautiful gold leafy, you know, vest-looking thing. You can't find it. Now, I'm told it still exists, but I don't think so. I don't think I can't find it.
I'll bet it's at golf courses. You know, like obscure.
Like just a regular, full-blooded Michelob.
We didn't even have Michelob when I worked at the golf course back home 10, 11 years ago now.
But Ultra hadn't come out, right? You had Mick Light?
There was Ultra, Light, and Amberbach. But there was not Michelob
Michelob,
anymore.
just your plain good old Michelob, man. I want a 6-pack of regular-ass Michelob. I don't want you doing anything to it. I want it just Michelob. It really bothers me that I can't find it. Hell, I can't even find it. It's not a good beer. I'm not saying it because of that. It's just I want one for memory's sake, nostalgia's sake. You can't find it. I know you're going to tell me online because you can get anything online.
So it'd be Michelob
just regular
lager?
It's just Michelob. Just Michelob. It's called Michelob. It doesn't just a Michelob.
Somebody is selling a 1982 Michelob beer color magazine ad for $6 on eBay.
I'm selling a 6-pack of Michelob?
I searched regular Michelob, and that's the first thing that popped up.
Very frustrating.
Whatever happened to Michelob? It's actually there's an article about that.
I'm sure there's a lot of articles. People are like me going, what's going on with the Michelob? You can find Lowenbrau. You can find almost every other beer.
So, I mean, would it be today Michelob Lager? That's got to be it, right?
I assume. I
mean, we have friends over at
yeah,
the local
we've got friends
Anheuser-Busch.
everywhere. They can, I'm sure, but I just keep getting told that it exists, and I don't see it ever. Ever. It's not the way I planned on opening the show, but, still late July.
NBC News has an article about this from 6 years ago.
6 years ago, somebody else was looking for it.
Yeah, 3 beers Americans no longer drink. There you go.
Because they don't offer it. I can't find it anywhere. That's the problem. You can't drink what you can't find. That's very aggravating.
Beer don't care who drinks it.
Did you see ESPN doing their silly offseason stuff? Vince Young led Texas, the best team of the past 20 years. Get the hell out of here. Vince Young left, Vince Young right, run, young man, run. You're certainly not reading the defense. Please. So they have Texas 2005 as the number 1 team, which just must frustrate the Texas fans all to hell because so fleeting are their successes over the last 35 years. Anyhow, so there's that. And then they have Florida. The 2008 Florida team is number 2.
Really?
Yes. First of all, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes are better than both of those teams, and it's not close. It's not really close at all. Miami would kill that Texas team. Miami would kill that Florida team. The second best or best is the one to Miami, Florida State in 13.
Yeah.
That, too, is not that close. Florida State would have beat that Texas team and that Florida team soundly.
We would have beat that Texas team's ass.
Oh, my goodness. Not even close. That game's not competitive. Now, here's the thing I will tell you. The 01 Canes and the 2013 Noles, and I think it's kind of neat that those 2 teams are the best 2 teams of all time. I would love to see that game.
About the last time the Canes were good.
I mean, that's true. I'd really like to see that game. I mean, there's no getting around the fact that team had 36, 38 future NFL draft picks. That was a good team.
But, you look at our starting 11 on either side, and they all
same thing.
They all had at least a look in the league.
Well, and I also think I've always said this about what was most impressive about Florida State in 2013, besides that just brutally nasty defense, was that, it set a record for most points offensively, and they did it at a snail's pace. They didn't have to run hurry up to set an all-time record for points. That's how damn efficient they were. Think about that.
They sat out a lot of second halves, the first team.
They set a record for points scored in a season, 723. And they did it running 9 plays a game. I mean, it's incredible.
And they could have scored 100 on Maryland or 100 on NC State if they really wanted to.
Right. I think they get hurt by the fact that the national championship game was so close. I think the perception is that because that game was so close, they weren't as dominant. But go back and look at that season. That is, it just gives you the chills. Then they have 04 USC, 2011 Alabama, 2012 Alabama, 2015 Alabama, 2009 Alabama.
Are we on the board there?
Yeah, we're number 4.
Oh, we're number 4. Well, no, when you mentioned it, it sounded like you were talking about teams that would beat the top 2's ass.
Our 99 team is number 10, so we have 2 in the top 10. And that's a wire-to-wire national championship. Obviously, Winky and Warwick and Simon and Hope and Gibson, Janikowski, and we go on and on and on and on and on. Just great team. Love that team.
That Miami team in 01 did play, looks like 3 close games.
They had one against Boston College that was strangely close, if I recall.
Yeah, 18-7 was the final in that game, and they beat Virginia Tech 26-24.
Right, but and what's going on there is this idea that it's a little bit of revisionist, but because they were so talented, they are often looked upon as by far and away the best team of all time. I love that team in terms of greatness. I would have them in my discussion. I just did.
Yeah.
But I think they did at times take some days off.
They beat our ass that year. Woo. 49-27.
I actually was pretty happy about hanging in there.
That was up here, too.
49-27, I could deal with that.
They go 45-3, 38-0 over West Virginia Temple before the close game against BC on the road. Then number 15 Syracuse, how about that? That's a long time ago. They beat 59-0. Then they played number 11 Washington and beat them 65-7.
No, they were good, dude. That was an amazing team. I mean,
But Va-Tech took them to the
to the wire.
Yeah, 26-24.
That was a no. I really think the thing that we share, despite being fierce adversaries, is that I believe that the Florida State fans and the Cane fans could sit down and have a reasonable discussion about how great a game 2013 Noles versus 2001 Canes would be. I mean, everybody would have to admit just to the sheer talent. It's all over the field. It's unbelievable. It's hard to fathom.
Yeah, this stretch here after the BC game is 63-0, 51-14, 49-17, 41-14, 59-3, 59-3, 80-14, 37-7, 45-7. My God. I mean, we lived it, but you go back and you look at the numbers 5 years later, and it's, wow.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, setting straight-up records and not really racing to do it.
Sometimes the fish gets bigger. You know what I mean? This one, no, it's as big as you remember it.
This is what you need to know. That team won 13 games by an average of 42.3 points. See, they just get hurt because of the one close one. That's what it is. They get hurt because of the one close game against Auburn in the national championship. But it's insane. Winston threw for almost 4,000 yards, nearly 40 touchdowns. He had 38 as a redshirt freshman.
That's pretty funny. So somebody messed with the Wikipedia page for it, and if you look at the stats, go look at it right now because they'll fix it. But scores by quarter, all opponents, and it has Florida State 165-42 in the first, 214-41 the second, 203-29 the third, and in the fourth quarter it's 900,000-58. And it did feel that way.
Oh man, but this is the last of the fodder that they give you while you need something to latch onto to get you into August. Here it is. It's a list. And they fraudulently have that Texas team as number one, which is nuts.
That sounded like the Ding Ding presenting the list.
Oh, it did?
It's a list.
It's a list. Ding, ding. What are we doing? Smoke them if you got them. Go Longhorns. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Smoother, bolder, sharper, comfier, smarter, fiercer, tougher, stronger, longer, greater, prouder. Gravely Zero-Turn Mowers.
Cleaning. Today, we want to know how you save energy, water, and money during a warmer season. Caller, you're on the air. What do you do to save energy?
With the warmer temperature, I know my AC is working overtime, so I make sure to replace my AC filter once a month.
Excellent suggestion. Next caller, you're on the air.
Well, the City of Tallahassee recommends that I take advantage of their grants and loans to get more insulation in my attic. That's really going to keep my cooling costs down.
These are some great suggestions. There are lots of ways to save. Caller, you're on the air.
I reduce energy for water heating by lowering my water heater temperature and installing low-flow shower heads.
We have time for one more caller. What do you have for us?
I make sure to use my programmable thermostat to regulate the temperature in my home when I'm away.
Thank you, caller. That's all the time we have today.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities would like to help you save as much energy as you can and save money while you're at it. Visit talgov.com for more information and start saving energy today.
Come out and meet Senorita Makita at the Makita Driving Innovation Tour on Friday, July 27th. This is a national show being held at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener from 11 until 2. There'll be a demo truck on site, and all Makita tools will be 10% off. Receive a free 2 amp-hour battery with any cordless tool purchase, or buy a Makita chainsaw with 2 batteries and receive 2 free 5 amp-hour batteries. This one-day only factory authorized sale will have better prices than Prime Day on Makita tools. So make sure to get out to Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina. And presented by Hobbit American Grill and Mike's Marine Supply.
Eat, sleep, fish. Mike's Marine Supply and Skeeter Boats want to get you out on the open water. They're your local Skeeter dealer, custom rigged with Yamaha outboards. Stocked with a full line of Skeeter boats from the Bass to the Saltwater Bay Series, Skeeter has been recognized for 18 consecutive years as the leader in customer satisfaction for fiberglass outboard boats. Check in at Mike's Marine Supply for the spring specials starting soon. Located at 1296 Coastal Highway, Panacea, Florida, call Mike's Marine at 984-5637. Online at mikesmarinetallahassee.com.
I used to leave voicemails for myself because the only one I could trust to get something done right was me.
Hey, you, it's me. Remember to order safety goggles and grab some milk on your way home.
But now I use Grainger. Grainger's got the technical support you'd expect from America's #1 source for industrial-grade supplies. They're in the business of helping my business, so no more talking to myself. Now I talk to Grainger, because when it comes to keeping your business running, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
It's a good day when you're doing a show and you can reference somebody named Tay Bang over and over again. We'll talk more about Tay Bang. His quote, "Damn, the University of Florida got some blank-ass football players." Quote, unquote, quote, Tay Bang. I know people are going to attribute that quote to me because I quoted Tay Bang in a reply to you.
Yeah, but it was clear enough that
it should be.
Yeah. That's your own fault if you don't know what the hell that meant.
Yeah. It's just having fun with my man Tay Bang.
Tay Bang!
Got to give away some tickets. The comedian Ron White will be here about two years from now, and we've got tickets for you.
Or November the 8th, but yes.
And if you're caller number 1, now, make it happen. Rapid fire, quick. 523-3776.
We'll be 9 games into the football season for the Noles.
Caller 1, Ron White, sipping on that whiskey, telling jokes at the Civic Center. It's all yours right now. There you go. Phones are ringing. That's always good. Got to do the right thing by Ron White. His people are promoting this thing well in advance.
That they are.
That's it's impressive. It's funny. Today's a day of lists. I'll just mention it at the outset of the show. But now I see that some are sending these to me. The Daily Knoll has 39 days remaining until the start of FSU football. We remember Rashad Green's 39-yard game-winning touchdown reception to lift the Noles past Virginia Tech. And that was immediately retweeted by many of our listeners here on the Jeff Cameron Show with the caption, "Suck it, Clemson."
Manuel underneath. Green, first down and more. Green on the run. Green may go to the house. Rashad Green, touchdown, Florida State.
Just mentioned a moment ago that Florida State was going to have to make a catch and run. All of the opportunities Virginia Tech's defense was providing them was underneath, over the middle of the field. E.J. Manuel finds his true sophomore receiver who's made some giant plays tonight.
You know, I don't know why I worked in the Miami thing. They weren't in contention for anything that I'm aware of.
Well, that was the while you're at it.
Yeah.
You know, or while we're at
That's just how I roll. All right, we gave away the Ron White stuff. We'll buckle down and do a long form here in a minute. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Smoother, bolder, sharper, comfier, smarter, fiercer, tougher, stronger, longer, greater, prouder. Gravely zero-turn mowers. TNT.
$9528. Your Addiction Team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
I used to leave voicemails for myself because the only one I could trust to get something done right was me.
Hey, you, it's me. Remember to order safety goggles and grab some milk on your way home.
But now I use Grainger. Grainger's got the technical support you'd expect from America's #1 source for industrial-grade supplies. They're in the business of helping my business, so no more talking to myself. Now, I talk to Grainger, because when it comes to keeping your business running, Grainger's got your back. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Chris Kraft at Kraft Nissan. Once again, if you have perfect credit, this message is not for you. Here's the deal. Nissan's secondary finance program was a huge success. Kraft Nissan had our best 2-month run ever, and that's a fact. We were shocked by the number of customers who thanked us for getting them out of the world of little used car dealers with crazy high interest rates and unreal monthly payments. So we decided, let's adopt a similar program in-house so we can continue to help people with dinged-up credit year-round. Kraft Nissan's New For You program is very similar to the factory deal. It's easy. All you need is proof of employment and proof of residency, period. We welcomed in people with credit scores under 600, people with recent bankruptcies, and folks recently divorced. A wide array of real people with real-life credit situation. What happened? Almost each and every one of them got a brand new Nissan Altima. That's what happened. Not a used car, a brand new Altima. It's Kraft Nissan's New For You program. Put good people into good new cars. People all around Tallahassee are discovering if you have a dent in your credit, now more than ever, you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much.
And we're back with another edition of Spring Cleaning. Today, we want to know how you save energy, water, and money during a warmer season. Caller, you're on the air. What do you do to save energy?
With the warmer temperature, I know my AC is working overtime, so I make sure to replace my AC filter once a month.
Excellent suggestion. Next caller, you're on the air.
Well, the city of Tallahassee recommends that I take advantage of their grants and loans to get more insulation in my attic. That's really going to keep my cooling costs down.
These are some great suggestions. There are lots of ways to save. Caller, you're on the air.
I reduce energy for water heating by lowering my water heater temperature and installing low-flow shower heads.
We have time for one more caller. What do you have for us?
I make sure to use my programmable thermostat to regulate the temperature in my home when I'm away.
Thank you, caller. That's all the time we have today.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities would like to help you save as much energy as you can and save money while you're at it. Visit talgov.com for more information and start saving energy today.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Is the lowest point of Kanye West's career Bobby Brown calling him crazy?
You can't write fiction better than that. You know what kind of special, kind of crazy you got to be when Bobby Brown... Didn't Bobby Brown say he had sex with a ghost? When Bobby Brown is saying you're crazy?
72% of the audience said yes.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Let's do some giving away of goodness here. Pair of tickets. Caller, 3. Caller 3 wins a pair of tickets for wrestling at the Leon County Tucker Center.
Civic Center, if you want to go that route, yeah.
So the TLC Double C, pair of tickets, caller 3, 523-3776. Come get you some tickets. There you go. I almost forgot.
That was very nice of you.
It's a shortened, we do the 1 hour now, and then you got 2 hours of headlines coming up, which is good. It's good. Some more recapping. The way the week worked out, the way it had to be, you'll get some more recounting of what those guys thought, Ira and Corey, of the ACC kickoff, and some thoughts about the roster and conversations with Willie and a number of other things, of course. I got yesterday, before we get to probables and all that other stuff, I got a tweet yesterday asking me about my thoughts on Jimbo's comments, and Jimbo's comments sounded strangely like my comments, and I didn't do my due diligence at all. I didn't go see if he said what this guy said that he said.
Regarding what?
Well, I thought it was weird. Let me find it, okay? It says, first of all, there were a lot of observations, and some of them were really good, and some of them were, whatever. But this guy wrote that he was glad to have me back. Well, I'm glad to be back. And he was interested to hear my take on Jimbo's comments while I was out regarding things getting away from him, losing the team, deserving to go. Have you read that?
I believe that was fake. I did hear something along those lines.
I was going to say I saw no such official comments from Jimbo Fisher saying that doesn't even sound right.
Now this isn't it kind of makes me angry because I'm not certain of this, but I believe while I was away on vacation I saw those quotes attributed to Jimbo and they weren't real. But had I known, I would have looked it up and given you a true answer here. But that doesn't even sound like Jimbo. Why would he ever be contrite about anything? He hardly ever was.
I thought it was odd. I didn't think it was something that would make a lot of sense, and I have not seen it verified, so I'm not going to comment on it because I don't think he said it, and maybe not in that way. But what I would tell you is this. I don't think even if he felt that way that he would say it. I don't think even if he felt that way. Let me just say this. This is the last on this, okay? When I talked to him, I talked to him the day that the whole thing went down. When the Christmas tree ended up out there, the whole day. I talked to him that day, and I've talked about that. We talked for that morning, very early, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that, none of which is me recording an official interview. And I always appreciated this part. When that whole thing went down, I was scheduled to have my normal interview with him because, remember, he denied it to the hilt until the very, very end before it was all but over. And the university was putting a lot of pressure on him at that time. President Thrasher was saying, oh, no, have you taken the job? Did you take the Texas A&M job? He called into the office, the whole deal. So this was coming to a head before we were going to play Delaware State, right? I think that's the game.
Whoever that was, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
That's probably right.
I don't remember.
Well, it was a free win, yeah.
So, the point would be that morning at like 5 a.m., I was angling to talk to him because we were owed an interview. And long story short, I did talk to him, and his frustrations, and I won't get into details here, but they were laid out very clearly, and they didn't have anything to do with losing the team or checking out, or they didn't have anything to do with any of that stuff. It wasn't. He never mentioned things getting away from him, never mentioned losing the team, he never mentioned leaving. All he said was, when this thing plays out, I'm going to tell you some things about this situation. And he was very frustrated, and he wanted to talk, and I was trying to elicit that.
Yeah, if I recall, what you told me was no matter how it plays out is what he said. Something along those lines. He wasn't committing to the fact that he was either staying or going. He wasn't saying...
Yeah, but I knew he was gone. I mean, I knew he was gone because of the tenor of the conversation, and I knew he was gone because of what he wasn't saying, what he wouldn't say when I asked him certain questions, and moreover, what I thought was a sound of a man who was beaten, he knew it was over. I originally thought it was the sound of a man who had overplayed a hand.
Well, both could be true.
I think that's true. Yeah, I think there were regrets and frustrations.
But I mean, if you're him in that moment, and you've let recruiting go to where it's gone, and you haven't made decisions on...
Well, you have to go at that point.
On staff changes. You know, they're twisting in the wind. They've been told not to recruit anymore, and you don't have an answer for them on their job security. I mean, how do you even restart that process? You can't.
No.
The only logical thing to do in that moment is leave, even if it was for $4.5 million a season.
No,
let alone
it'd be to
$7.5
fresh. Yeah, it would be to reset the clock. It would be to start fresh, to have a fresh set of eyes and ears, the whole deal.
It was way too far gone at that point.
Yeah, it was definitely gone. And that's why I say, by the way, the only reason I'm rehashing this right now is in response to that Twitter question.
I think that got debunked.
Yeah. Well, and I'm debunking it without confirming that it did, because I don't think he would ever say it. I mean, just on the surface, you wouldn't say it.
That probably would make headlines, too, across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost control. The thing got away from me.
Right.
No. And, many moons from now, it may, when he looks back on his career, depending on how things play out at Texas A&M, he might be willing to say, there were some missteps, some mistakes.
If he succeeds at A&M, he'll be willing to say that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think what's intriguing, there are a lot of question marks about the future of several things going on that involve either FSU, former FSU players or coaches, and Jameis Winston having to meet the press today, as we talked about. I've got thoughts on how I think that's all going to play out, and I've said that I'm done with him and Han about certain details. What I do know is this is only going to go one of two ways. He has either turned his life around and all that stuff about father and husband and drinking and eye on the prize, focus and all that is true, and there will be no off-field issues, and he will go on to have a fruitful career after a tough season. This is going to be a tough season. I don't think there's any way around that, because they're going to lose those 3 games that he's not in there, in all likelihood. And when that happens, it's a lost season. Maybe they go 1-2 and they give themselves a fighting chance. But even still, there's resentment that comes with the losses that didn't necessarily have to be because of his missteps off the field. So there will be a sense of angst throughout this year. I just don't think there's any getting around that, and you wonder if it becomes an overwhelming thing, and if it's an overwhelming thing, then he's going to be out of there, and if he's out of there, then obviously the franchise starts anew, whatever. But that's either going to happen, or he's going to continue to prove to be unreliable, terrible leader, and a skilled player who's a cautionary tale, and that'll be that. I mean, that's where we're at now. It's one of those two things.
Yeah, but I think the interesting one would be if he has a decent season, decent to good, where it's objectively true. Even those who aren't rooting for Jameis will say, well, he did have a good season.
You know what's funny about that, though? That's true of last year, and they can't say it.
Yes.
They refuse to.
That is true.
It's amazing.
But then he has a good season, yet the Bucs have to clean house at GM and coach. Does he get a reprieve in that sense that you can have a clean slate with the organization? If he does well enough individually, they don't do well enough collectively, and you have a new structuring in the front office.
Yeah.
In that sense, everybody gets to start fresh. So that would be the interesting storyline, and would almost be beneficial to Jameis if it did go exactly that way.
okay, if I'm
short of
looking
him
at
being a league MVP, caliber player, and then making the playoffs because they win 11 games in the 13 he plays or something absurd like that.
Yeah. No, I think that if you're of the mindset that the Bucs have a franchise quarterback who's just got to fly right from here on out, but the ability is there and the playmaking is there, then what you need to see happen is him come back after those 3 games and play extremely well to where you said it's irrefutable. The organization would then have to recognize that and say they would have already made a decision at that point whether or not they believed, as he has said, that this incident is 2 years old. I've been a different person ever since this because I recognized I can't have alcohol in my life, and I'm now a father, and I'm all of these things. And in their mind, they believe that. If that's all true and he has clearly shown the ability to play the position, all right, well, then they'll buy in. He'll have less leverage on the amount of money, but they'll be bought in and they'll move on, even if they don't make the playoffs. He just has a good year. The worst-case scenario is that it's a middling season to go along with the frustration. They clean house, and there's this, you're in limbo.
Yeah.
You might just scratch it all and say,
Well, the good thing for the Bucs, if I'm just putting on the Bucs fan hat.
That's all I'm doing here, by the way.
He's under team control for next year. You may not like the number at $20 million or however much it is. It's 20-something. You don't have to make a decision. And then you can franchise tag him for the next 2 seasons after that. The number he'll be paid for those years as a quarterback will be absurd. It would be in the $30 million range. But would it be worth it to you as Buccaneers, as the front office?
Just to see.
Right, because if you were giving him a new contract, you'd be giving him $60, $70 million guaranteed. That's the going rate on the market anyway.
Yeah.
So would you rather just give him the $30 million and continue this 1-year renewal process until you say, all right, it's beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's been 5+ years since the incident that was in question ever took place.
And there's been no future problems, and he's put up great numbers.
Right,
and
so we're going to give him the long-term deal, but I'm not going to give him 5 or 6 years worth of guaranteed dollars now. Why would you ever do that?
No. Well, and I'm fascinated to see from a football standpoint how he handles this year. I mean, I think the pressure, he has great strengths and weaknesses. And the interesting thing about one of his strengths is it sometimes comes back to bite him. And we've witnessed this as Knowles, and we've witnessed this as Bucs fans. He is so competitive and so desperately wants to win and will do anything to win a football game. Well, you want that in guys that you're paying good money to play professional football for your franchise. You want them desperately to care about wins and losses and laying it on the line in order to garner those wins. But what it sometimes leads to is him putting too much on himself and trying to make plays that simply aren't there out of sheer desperation in a game where you're still in it, but you got to stay the course. If this season is off the rails and they're 1-4, and you're down by 7 late in the third quarter of a game you have to have any shot, does he begin to force things just because he so desperately wants to win and believes in that arm and his ability?
Well, and we have a couple of ways this can go for a couple of different reasons. Okay, so I think one of the hard things for Jameis in his first 2 or 3 seasons as a Buck is having to be the face of the franchise, the leader, yet he's not the veteran on the offensive side of the ball. He has never been the veteran. If it wasn't Deshaun Jackson, it was Vincent Jackson or Doug Martin. I'm not saying those guys were always stand-up,
Right.
leaders themselves, but you almost have to check yourself in front of the 10-year vet in the league. But yet he was still asked to be the leader. So there's this conflict of role. Like, what am I? What can I do? Can I rule with, a dictatorial hand, or do I have to relent in a moment to a superstar? That's been taken away from him. I really want to see how the leadership structure of the Bucs on a Sunday works now, because I don't know that his voice carries as much clout pre-game, in-game as it did. He might just be more of a player than he is a leader. Might that free him up, or might that turn into a doubling down of some negative effect in his weekly play?
Well, and we've said this, and I believe this to be true, that there's not a lot he can do this year to win over those that have now decided to move on. So, in short, again, like you said, having an MVP-like season maybe, but that's unlikely. So what I would say is that he just has to be quiet, come to work, play real hard, be as supportive to his teammates and his community as possible, and go home and go to bed and get up and do it again and do it again and again and again and again and again. And I don't want theatrics on the sideline. There's no charging onto the field and pushing down Shelton Quarles. There's no screaming down officials. There's no, this just go play football, man. It's sorry. I know you're an emotional guy, but that's gone now.
Well, and this question is really fascinating because, I mean, it's unfair to say that because he was emotional in today's press conference that he would be on the field to a negative degree, but because this is a really odd situation for him to be in. But he was very, very emotional today, and you could tell it was taking everything he had to contain that emotion. I mean, almost to the point where he couldn't break down a cry. You could hear it trembling in his voice. Not necessarily sadness, but anxiety and passion and emotion, and it was his job to do anything but sound emotional to answer those questions, because clearly the edict was move on, move on, move on. Those are the key words. Let's get this over with and let's move to the next. And it was very hard for him to do, but if you have that chip on your shoulder, does that turn into a negative thing where you're trying to prove the world wrong through every throw you make? That's the hard part here. What does he do?
Yeah, and I'm not saying you can't celebrate touchdowns with your teammates and, exult in joy, and I'm not saying you can't slap your hands together out of frustration over a bad call or a missed opportunity. I'm not, you're not a robot. I got that. But you know what I'm talking about. It's the over-the-top imploring and the outlandish sideline behavior from a year ago, which was, in my mind, a moment of true weakness where I said, ooh, listen, lots of guys yell at assistant coaches. Lots of guys slam down clipboards or video boards of something after a mistake or an opportunity is missed. Lots of quarterbacks freak out at their head coach and have a screaming match and all. I never cared about that. I understand how that's covered and who gets away with that and who doesn't. I understand all that. No franchise quarterback, not any of these guys, is pushing down a man in a suit to race out and at an official and have to be restrained by. That doesn't happen. Not Brady, not anybody. It doesn't happen. They don't do that. And that was where I went, whoa, man.
Right, between the lines stuff as well. I mean, you go back to the Thursday night against St. Louis that first year. Yeah, he's getting cheap shotted, but I mean, it was. You stop and you go, whoa! There's no precedent for this. It's not just my Bucs fandom, but this is. Yeah, you got to learn to back off, man. When you see red, you got to learn to just back off or find it.
And it can be really difficult. I get it.
But all the pressure of the world, he clearly felt it. He felt all that pressure. And, the beauty of 2013 for him was, although everybody looks at that and they say Jameis's team, well, yeah, he's the Heisman Trophy winner, but it wasn't his leadership structure. The buck didn't stop with him. It stopped with Telvin and LaMarcus and Jernigan and Wilder. Yeah. He was the fifth man in line. Yes, there's the Clemson speech, but I always pointed out, where's he standing? He's not standing at the front of the room. He's standing to the side of the room.
Well, he was the perfect complement to an already locker room filled with leadership. Yes. Or already filled a locker room with leadership. Yeah. That was he allowed for a bit of levity and a cockiness and freedom of assurance, that maybe that locker room would have needed, and certainly an ability. I mean, he's one of the best college quarterbacks we've ever seen, and he's been a good pro.
Sure, but he was the breath of fresh air for how tough Jernigan and Telvin and LaMarcus were. They were holding everybody accountable, and Jameis was like, it's going to be okay. He was the good cop to their bad cop. But when he's trying to lead by himself, I mean, you could even look at 2014 and say that. I mean, all the Jekyll and Hyde halves he had when he was trying to be the guy.
That was a weird-ass team. That forevermore is one that we look back at. It's impossible not to appreciate an undefeated regular season. Look around the country and find the teams in their history that have had undefeated seasons. It's really damn difficult.
Yep, and Sean McGuire outdueled Deshaun Watson.
I mean, and so in a weird way, 2014 was the least enjoyable undefeated season you could ever go through.
You're not Corey Clark for saying that either. I think that's absolutely true.
It was amazing. But
short of something in the 50s, we're like, that team wasn't any good, but we're an army. We're just so much better than everybody.
Well, and I think the oddity was that I did continue. At some point, I turned off my frustration of a team that was underachieving in margin of victory and dominance and began to appreciate the absurdities of how many times they came back and won games where people thought for certain they had vanquished them, and what it did to the national fandom and press was my favorite element time and again. We may never have a more pleasurable season in that sense than we did that year. People desperately, overtly calling the games, rooting against Florida State.
Okay, so second half, and I'm talking about minute 31 to minute 60, right, in the football game. Second half 2014 Florida State versus first half 2013 Florida State. It's probably a really good game.
Oh, man. Well, first half 2013 Florida State after BC.
Post-BC.
Post-BC becomes an exercise in really concerning yourself for the other team's player safety. I felt that on more than one occasion that year.
Well, and that's why I'm saying I'm not, and this doesn't translate to the wins and loss record in 2018, but that's what I heard in Cam Akers' voice in that interview with him. I heard, ooh, that guy's got that in him. The spirit of that 2013 team, especially that defense, Cam exudes that in his words. The subtext, the pregnant pauses, you go, holy crap. Mm-hmm. What this guy aims to do, the visions he has in his head are probably illegal.
I love a kid that's that focused at that age. I think I admire people who are that locked into a dream and a process at such a young age. There have been a lot of really talented guys that are just kind of knuckleheads that get away with it for the first couple of years because they're so talented, but they're not locked in. They don't have this vision that it seems to me he has. He's had this idea of the way things are going to be for him at the position he plays, regardless of what's going on around him, because of sheer determination and drive to be better than everybody else. And, man, I don't know where that comes from, but it is awesome to be to witness, to sit across from, to feel, just to listen to.
Picture yourself in a hallway at work or somewhere, and Cam's running at you at full speed. That's a nightmare. It's literally a nightmare.
Well, there are a lot of guys that we've had come through here where I'd say that was true. But I think
almost had that happen to me at Bradham's Pro Day.
Woo.
He was coming straight at me because I set my bag down in the wrong spot, and he was coming at me at full speed. I haven't moved that quickly since.
Yeah, that's not a guy you want coming at you.
No, he's running a cone drill. It was my bag was in the way. I was
this is going to be a problem. This is a problem. Well, I certainly would have never wanted to line up at the safety position and have to come up after my linebackers didn't do their job, and Greg Jones is to the second level. As we all saw on numerous occasions, including with people like Sean Taylor getting run over.
Greg Jones versus William Floyd in an Oklahoma drill.
Greg Jones.
Greg Jones.
I love William. I'm sorry, William, but
evolution.
Greg Jones was a different creature, man. That was unbelievable. Probables, here we go.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Kansas City of the Yankees, Jacob Junis, Sonny Gray. Mets, Pirates, what? Mets is on the hill.
It's a 4-gamer for us.
I need you to stand down. You're playing for nothing.
Well,
you're trading guys.
We'll have to win tonight and Sunday to split with you because we have Vargas pitching tomorrow. No chance. And then we have DeGrom pitching on Saturday, and we can't win those games.
You'll be. I got to find out the relative health of my team here. Kingham is starting for the Pirates. Steven Matz is pitching for the Mets. He's 0-3 in his last 3 games. Hasn't been horrible, but he's 0-3 in his last 3 games.
Yeah.
Rays, Orioles, Hunter Wood, Alex Cobb. We got the Twins and the Red Sox, Kyle Gibson, Brian Johnson. Philadelphia Phillies, Cincinnati Reds, Rangers, Suarez, Tyler Mahal. Hey, by the way, I wonder if Brian Johnson runs out of the bullpen after warming up for games and has AC/DC blaring. How could he not? His name is Brian Johnson.
That would be the logical thing to do.
You would think so. Nats, Marlins, Tommy Maloney. Hey. Dan Straley. Dodgers, Braves, Rich Hill, Anibal Sanchez. We got the A's and the Rangers, Trevor Cahill, Bartolo Colon. Brewers, Giants, Wade Miley, Derek Rodriguez. And that's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. By the way, last night I couldn't sleep. Stayed up and watched the Angels game, and I saw Trout homer, and I saw Ohtani homer, and I thought, I'm glad I stayed up to watch this game with the Angels. It was very pleasant. About midnight before I drifted off. on my pillow.
I was asleep I knew that was coming, and yet it still made me laugh. By 20 after 8, out cold.
Well, you're still
till 6 in the morning.
Recalibrating.
Yeah.
You got to be right now.
I hope so.
I would think you slept from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Good Christ.
I'm still.
That's a long
This
time.
morning was actually tough around 9 or 10 o'clock. I wanted to go back to bed, but I feel okay now. Yeah.
All right. That's a look at those that shall raise out on the bar.
They go on and on. And guess who saw?
All right, July. Keep it moving. We were rolling along Big River, and now all of a sudden, like, hey, guess what? Put it on your radar. Should be fun. Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. I got a long day of broadcasting Wednesday. Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. all over the country. Me and Danny Cannell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll be 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the first team on Sirius XM.
You going to ask him if the liberal media is out to get football?
No, I'm not going to ask him that. I'm going to ask him about football and football-related items.
Well, if you need like a 20-minute break, you could just ask that question, go make some coffee.
Serve up a softball and let him go? No. I look forward to the show. It'll be fun. Danny's good at what he does, and we'll have a good time together. I'm sure the head honchos are not going to allow us to do 3 hours of Florida State. As much as we probably would both want to. That's not the way that works when you're hosting that show, as I've been told. So it has to be a little bit more balanced, a little bit nuanced, but maybe some shots. Maybe we can get in some shots along the way.
Oh, I would think you could coordinate some pretty awesome ones, too.
Without question. Especially with the subject matter we had today, which was so fun with what's going on down there. That gets the best name of a bookie I've ever heard of.
Attack him with a frying pan. I need you to assemble with a weapon. I don't have anything except...
Grab the frying pan.
All I have is a frying pan. That'll do.
That is simply amazing. Soccer guys up next?
No.
That's on Saturday mornings.
No. Seminole Headlines is up next.
Oh, yeah. What the hell am I talking about?
And then
I forget
Soccer
who
Guys.
I put on the air. I'm totally a mess, too. I said Soccer Guys, didn't I?
You did.
Seminole Headlines next. Did Soccer Guys.
There it is. Yeah. It's only 3 o'clock, man. You got some extra time today. Or, 3:50.
Well, I'm going to go hit some golf balls. I don't know about you.
That's not a bad idea.
I think that's what I'll do. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a good night.